Egg freezing is not as successful as embryo freezing.
Okay, Emma, let's just talk about the concept of egg freezing and embryo freezing, because I know a lot of people get really confused about what is the difference between an egg and an embryo. And I've got, for example, a lot of friends who come to me and they say they want to do egg freezing. And I'm like, great, but actually you've got a long-term partner or a husband. Have you actually thought about maybe doing embryo freezing? And then they don't even understand what embryo freezing is. They don't know that it's a concept or even an option to them. How would you talk to somebody who was coming to you and saying they want to do egg freezing, but you actually know that they do have a partner?
Okay, so egg freezing is a really, really viable option if that is your only option. An egg is a standalone cell that belongs to you as the female who created that egg. The minute you introduce a sperm into that egg and fertilise that egg, it becomes an embryo, but equally it has two persons' DNA and two people's consent. And I think that is a really fundamental take-home point. Egg freezing is not as successful as embryo freezing. The reason being is the egg is the start of the journey. They are very difficult to freeze. They are single cells that are full of water. So their toleration to freezing is not as good as an embryo. Equally, they have an unknown potential. We haven't fertilised them. We don't know if they can fertilise. We don't know if they will make embryos. So by putting eggs in the freezer, you are going to need to put a reasonable amount of eggs in the freezer to mitigate all the steps that come after that leads to an embryo to create a pregnancy, the flip side of those eggs being thawed out. Equally, they belong to you and they belong to you alone, and only your consent is involved. I think if someone was sat in front of me with a partner or a same-sex couple that are always going to need to use the donor sperm, then the serious conversation comes about why are we looking at egg freezing? If it's for fertility preservation and our relationship status isn't going to change, then definitely the advice would be to create embryos that you then know have much more known potential, because with embryos you grow them out to that blastocyst stage and then you freeze blastocysts that have a much higher rate of implantation. So context is key and knowledge is power, but equally it's about everyone's individual journey and why they're sat in front of you.